Right out of college, two University of Minnesota graduates decided to venture into small-scale farming.
We got started here 4 years ago. This is my family's farm, and so this was a natural first place to start farming. I mean, we wouldn't have had access to just a quarter acre of land without it.
They decided to use the land to grow a few hop vines.
The first time we grew hops, I didn't know anything about what we were supposed to be doing, so we were kind of like, you just throw these things in the ground, watch them come up, and then you start learning about all your mistakes.
That was kind of our first step to get into where we're at now, which is trying to make it big time.
And now they're on the way to that big time, poised to become the largest hop producer in the state.
4 years ago, we had 20 plants, just 20 plants. We thought it was pretty cool. And now this year we're planting 40,000.
They have 80 acres of land in Foley, Minnesota. They planted 40 of those acres this year and will plant the other 40 next year. Along with all the plants, they will also add processing facilities to the site.
The Foley expansion is really cool because we're going from kind of the equivalent of home brewing in some ways, and maybe a very large home brewery, but we're going from farming at a small enough scale where we have to build most things ourselves. We have to kind of improvise and find homegrown solutions to our problems. And at Foley, we're taking it to a scale that's big enough where we can buy equipment and gear our operation around that kind of equipment. And that's the same stuff that people in Germany and Michigan and Pacific Northwest use. So we're going from something that's kind of a cool experiment that we have to do a lot of our own playing and development with, and we're going to the full commercial system.
They will be going from 3 acres of hops to 83 acres of hops, which will help produce much more beer.
Hops are the main ingredient in beer. Hops are what make beer bitter, they're what make beer smell good. They're actually the preservative in beer too. So all those come from hops. And without hops, you really wouldn't be that far along to having a beer.
The hop plant is a vine that loosely resembles a grapevine.
They grow in these big tall trellises, like 16 to 18 feet out of the ground. It's like a vineyard, but a lot taller. They're beautiful right now, especially once they get to full maturity and they're growing they're putting out all their flowers. So they look like cones. People will call them cones, but they're technically the flower of the female plant.
In Minnesota, there are a handful of growers, but most are doing it on a small scale.
In our region, in the upper Midwest, like South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, have like almost no hops. Wisconsin have a little bit of hops. We have a little bit of hops. And then Michigan has like kind of a lot of hops relative to us. They have like 2,000 acres and we have like 70 acres. So they have a lot more than we do.
And now, with this expansion, Minnesota and Mighty Axe hops will be making their mark on the local, regional, and national hops market. Even through their enormous success and growth this year, they find the day-to-day tasks to be one of the best parts of the job.
I've always been fond of plants. I didn't actually get serious about it until school, but my favorite thing is having a plant that's as challenging as hops, where I can sit down and do research and do work and learn more and more and more about what they want, and then spend a whole 4 to 5 month window trying out everything I've learned. It's kind of a balance of improvisation and executing planned events. And you finally get to this part of the year where you've got a flower in your hand and you can really see whether or not you did it.
For North Metro TV News, Danica Peterson reporting.